Hi, I'm Jessica Drummond from the Integrative Women's Health Institute. Today I want to talk with you about a specific population of patients that nutritionists, physical therapists, fitness professionals, coaches that we deal with every day, and that is female athletes. Now, there's a lot of confusion among female athletes about how much fat they should have in their diet. You see, there's been a long history of low-fat diets in the United States in particular, and it's of course seen in most cases as a performance enhancement for female athletes to be lean, to be less, to have less body fat. But for women, this, there's actually more of a right size amount of dietary fat and a right size amount of body fat for them to stay healthy, particularly when it comes to the cardiovascular system. So it is true that diets that are too high in fat, their studies have been done primarily on diets of roughly 55% fat or more for even just 5 days, can increase postprandial kind of markers, metabolic markers of atherosclerosis, even just with that short-term high-fat diet. Now, don't email me. I know that there is an important time and a place for things like the ketogenic diet, particularly when it comes to brain health, but stay focused on our female athlete population. And then there was a study published in 2011 showing us that actually specifically in female athletes going too low fat. So this was a study where the women were given, again, a short-term diet, I think it was 3 days, of very low fat, 10% fat. And then they were exercised intensely, intense running, for a couple of hours. And again, metabolites markers were measured. And this showed an increased risk of cardiovascular disease because triglyceride levels went up and HDL cholesterol levels went down. So don't forget, HDL is the good cholesterol. And HDL levels for women are particularly important because HDL levels below 50 can be an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease. And don't forget, that's the #1 cause of death for women in our country. We do hear a lot about breast cancer and other illnesses in women, but cardiovascular disease is very common among women, and we need to start looking early, even in our healthy female athlete populations, making sure they're not going either too high fat or too low fat. So 55% fat diets have been shown to contribute to cardiovascular disease in studies, and so have very low fat, 10% fat diets. So we want to keep dietary fat for our female athletes in a just right zone, and the best studies have been done, and there was a meta-analysis published in BMJ Open fairly recently about looking at the Mediterranean diet. And in terms of cardiovascular health, there's the best depth of data in the Mediterranean diet, and the fat percentage is 25 to 35% fat, with about 8% of that fat being saturated fat. So we're looking to encourage and recommend to our female athlete patients, while they want to remain lean, they need to have enough energy, they need to have enough estrogen, hormones are built from cholesterol, they need to have healthy levels of HDL cholesterol, which is cardioprotective, and their triglyceride levels need to be not too high. So in terms of the whole body of research, the best recommendation for what fat is healthy fat dietarily for female athletes is about 25% to 35% fat in the whole diet, with 8% being saturated fat. And there are healthier fats. In a few minutes, we'll head over to the kitchen and I'll show you one of my specialties, something I make pretty much every day, which is salad dressing. Don't forget that a number of nutrients require fat to actually be absorbed. These are the fat-soluble vitamins. vitamins A, vitamins D, vitamin E, vitamin K, very important vitamins for antioxidant health, for bone health in our female athletes. What are some other foods that give us a strong balance of those healthy fats? Salmon is a great food. Look for recipes of salmon en papillote, which is simply salmon cooked in parchment paper. It's a very simple way to cook salmon. Guacamole is a great one. Smoothies. Smoothies are a great place to add fat and nutrients. In fact, I had a smoothie for breakfast this morning that contained frozen cherries. It contained some protein powder. It contained a little bit of banana for sweetness. And I added almond butter and almond milk for healthy fat. Also look for smoothie recipes that are high in coconut oil, coconut milk, coconut cream. That's another healthy source of saturated fat. Dairy fat can be a bit tricky when it comes to women. Many women are sensitive to dairy, and there is some data in perimenopausal women that shows that dairy fat can actually shorten telomere length, which is the sign of aging at the level of the DNA. So be mindful of dairy fat, but coconut oil is a great source of healthy saturated fat. Again, about 8% per day is what we're looking for. So, and then the favorite source of fat when it comes to the Mediterranean diet are two things: nuts and seeds of all kinds, because they all have their benefits, but also olive oil. So we're gonna head to the kitchen and I'm gonna show you my recipe for everyday salad dressing. And this is a great thing to recommend to your female athlete clients who want to increase their fat in a healthy way and help them to absorb all the delicious vitamins and minerals that are in the salad with the vegetables in the salad. All right, I'll see you down in the kitchen in just a minute. Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. So today I'm going to show you my recipe for everyday salad dressing. I literally make this recipe almost every day when we have salads, which is very often. So it's very simple, and this is a great recipe to recommend to your female athlete clients who are trying to healthfully increase their fat intake. So let's jump in. Start with taking a chunk of onion, and always use a good knife, that's important. Learn to hold it correctly. Taking a knife skills class is a great idea. So anyway, take a small chunk of onion. You can vary it. You can use white onion, that's what we have today. You can use red onion, one of my personal favorites. You can use green onion. You could even use garlic, shallots. So that's one thing that you can vary about this recipe. This recipe is very flexible, so don't worry if you don't measure, you don't have time to measure, just go with it. So, and the other thing you can do is repurpose jars from, say, pasta sauce, or this one is from a salsa, and make your salad dressing in jars that you've simply put through the dishwasher after you've finished using the product in it. The other little trick I learned from Martha Stewart years ago is if you're just making enough salad dressing for that night's salad, just make it at the bottom of the salad bowl and then toss it all up right before you serve it. All right, so we take our aromatic, the onion or garlic or shallot, right in the bottom of the jar. Then pour in your olive oil. Make sure to get a good quality brand of olive oil. Do a little Google search. There was a bit of an olive oil scandal that some brands of olive oil actually had GMO canola oil mixed in, things like this. Anyway, this brand has been tested, California Olive Ranch. You can buy it at a local regular grocery store. It's not particularly expensive, and it's actual olive oil. That's what you're looking for. Nothing too fancy, just actual olive oil. So you pour that in the bottom of the jar, and it just depends on how much you want to make. And what you're looking to do is get 1 part olive oil, 3 parts olive oil to 1 part vinegar. And varying the vinegars is another way to make this recipe more interesting. I'm using balsamic vinegar. Right now you could use red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, even lemon juice. So pour about 1 part vinegar to 3 parts olive oil. And then add a squeeze of mustard. This gives it some creaminess. Again, you can vary. You can use Dijon mustard. You can use the grainier mustard, any kind of mustard that you like and have on hand. Then add some salt and pepper. And I learned from a cooking teacher of mine that you always want to underestimate the amount of salt. So start with just a taste of salt, and then you can always add more, but you can't go back and take away the salt. So salt and pepper. And then to make it even fancier, and this is completely optional, is you can add herbs. You can add dried Italian seasoning. You can add any kind of dried herbs. Lemon and thyme are nice together. And right now it's summer and I've got all kinds of fresh herbs outside on the front porch, you know, in little containers. So sometimes I'll add fresh basil, fresh parsley, fresh oregano. So you can also add either no herbs, dried herbs, or fresh herbs. All right, and then you just pour that in your jar, put the top on your jar, and shake it up. And that's all you need to do. You've got fresh salad dressing for tonight's dinner. Enjoy, and please share this recipe with your clients and try it yourself at home. Let me know how you like it. All right, bye-bye.